Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny here, and I have some scripture from 1 Kings, chapter 19, verse 5. Then Elijah lay down under the broom tree and fell asleep. Suddenly, an angel touched him and said to him, "Get up and eat." This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. Elijah, the great prophet Elijah, has just made a huge demonstration of God's power to the surrounding people who did not worship Yahweh, who did not worship the God that we worship. And not only was this an exhausting thing to do, it took a lot of power and emotion and energy and courage and bravery. But it also made a lot of people really angry. And so he fled. He ran away. He ran into the wilderness toward Mount Horeb and just was ready to give it all up, to quit, to die. And this is what he says there. So he finds a solitary broom tree and he lays down underneath it and he says all of this to God. He says, "God, I'm done. Let me just die here right now so I don't have to do this any longer." The angels come and they feed him and they restore his strength and they tell him to get up, that his journey is not yet done. And so he does. But there's this moment where we are in the scripture that you're going to hear more about on Sunday that I think is really important. It's really important to know that this powerful, amazing pinnacle of a prophet got exhausted, needed to rest, was afraid, needed help, and was just at the end of his rope. Maybe you could say he was burned out. Maybe he was depressed. We don't know the exact thing that was going on in his body, mind, and soul at the time, but I think people who have been burned out and who have been depressed and who have been in need of rest have found much solace and comfort in this passage. So I wonder when you have found yourself underneath a solitary broom tree, figuratively probably, but when have you just been done? When you've just come to the end of what you could do. You couldn't even feed yourself anymore. You couldn't even get up. You couldn't even move on or see that there was a future beyond you or beyond that moment. What happened? Can you tell a story about that? Can you share a time with someone, even if you just share it with God or your journal? And what happened next? Who were the angels that came and fed you? How did God show up for you in those moments? How did God restore you and allow you to have a future? Friends, I'm going to be away on vacation this coming Sunday. I'm actually on vacation now as you're listening to this video. And while I'm not finding myself exactly where Elijah was, he didn't just need vacation, he needed a little bit more, but it is time for me to take a little bit of rest, and I am identifying a little bit with him and this desire to be quiet, to step out of the big stuff that is daily and constant and things that I love, but also things that I need to step away from, because we all need rest and we all need restoration, even if it's not in quite as extreme place as him. But in my absence, Pastora Ashley Gonzalez, who has been one of the pastors at Kingston this past year and is part of our clergy team now with this new partnership that we have with Kingston, she's going to be preaching. And our Kingston siblings will be invited to join us in worship this coming Sunday. Some of them, I hope, will join us in person. Some of them will be joining online, no doubt. I know that you're going to give them a beautiful welcome. This partnership there's so much that's unknown and so much that we're still figuring out and so many questions that they particularly have. And I trust that you'll give them a beautiful welcome. And you all can learn from Ashley more about this passage too. But again, back to my question. as you tell your story, as you share how you got to that solitary broom tree and how you got up from it to move on to the next thing, I pray that you can just be aware of your limits, of your need for rest, of the way God is sustaining you and helping you and sending others to sustain you in God's grace as well. We've just finished up our Jubilee God's Time to Shine worship series, and remember that we started with Sabbath. We started with the need to stop and to rest and to let God take care of us, to trust God. We ended with Shalom, which circled us right back around to trusting that God will care for us and give us what we need when we need it. So, know that I'm excited to take a little bit of a rest. I'll be excited to come back and see you again soon. There won't be a pastor's update from me next week because I will be away, and I will look forward to joining you again very soon. I love you. Remember that you are enough because God is enough. Thanks be to God for that.